Hello everybody and welcome to Whyde Family Farm. Today I'm going to take you on a garden tour. Let's take a closer look at all the new developments that have been going on in our garden over the past week. Okay, so many of you all know that we did an aspirin spray on our tomatoes. We still have a few blight issues, but for the most part, our tomatoes are actually doing really good. Here is a beefsteak. And we have some Bonnie's Best and some mortgage lifters over here. And each one is actually doing really, really well. Over here, we still have a blight, but these are Amish paste. And these are all doing really, really well. And we have dozens and dozens of tomatoes. And look at that. So cool. All up the vines. And our tomatoes are actually doing really good, and we're really surprised. Last night we had a huge storm, and I'm really surprised that some of these tomatoes made it through the storm. The rain was very heavy, and I thought for sure we'd come out here that they weren't going to do good. These are Kellogg's breakfast right here, and these tomatoes are massive. This is my hand. Look at that baby. Yeah, my hands are small, but still that tomato's big. And we got lots of these types of tomatoes. And we have already harvested a few. And over here is our watermelon patch, and my husband told me that we have a watermelon, so I was excited to hear that news. He said it was kind of big, so I've been looking for it and I do not see it, so I'm gonna have to get him out here to point it out to me. Super cool though. I was out here already and I weed whacked a lot of this down, a lot of this in between. Eventually at some point we will get mulch in here and we won't have the weeds. This is my asparagus bed. And then this is the disaster area. Not gonna lie. This is our butternut squash, and it has completely taken over the garden, and we have butternut squashes everywhere. And I don't know if you can tell down in there, but we have a really big one down in there. And this is our first year planting squash, and it just has taken over everywhere. It's probably about 50 feet long. And there's another one right there. And it's absolutely humongous. This is why we have the trellises right here. This is the Zecca gourd, and it's actually doing really good. And we actually have a few gourds on it. Can you see them? I have been spraying this down with garlic spray to keep all of the squash bugs away. And of course I have the nasturtium down here. So far this is actually doing really well. And volunteer tomatoes here and over here as well. Nasturtium and cucumber mix. And oh my gosh, look at these cucumbers. This is insane. These are ones I haven't even picked yet for the wait for Shed Wars. And they're doing crazy. This is the straight 8 that I got from Walmart, and it's actually doing really well too. And I'm gonna get out here. I know it's supposed to rain, keep raining, but I'm gonna get out here and still spray the garlic spray, because between this nasturtium and the garlic spray, I say that we are keeping the bugs down quite a bit. I'm not saying it's gotten rid of all of them, because every once in a while I still see some bugs, but for the most part it has been keeping them down. And of course, these are my Chinese noodle beans, and I got beans everywhere. You can see here as well. And I cannot wait for them to crawl up this trellis even more, and we'll have them hanging. And I'm sure we'll have them hanging here soon. So cool. And there's some right there. Okay, so every day I've been out here harvesting my chamomile and calendula, and every day I get a massive amount of chamomile and calendula. When you pick those, they come back again and again and again, and some even at full force. So let's take a look. I have so much to do in here. This is my chamomile, that is calendula, and I actually had taken off quite a few of this yesterday, and there is still more. I have parsley over here, which I plan on doing something with, and this here is called lovage, and this smells and tastes just like celery. I went ahead in through here and I harvested some of my basil, and that is drying as well. Over here I still have strawberries, and people are like, oh my gosh, you still have strawberries. Yes, I chose the everbearing strawberry, and they're real small, but they're awesome. They're real tender. Oh my gosh. They're just really good strawberries. And we have peppers growing pretty much everywhere. This is our goldfish container pepper. And then over here, we have Carolina Reaper and Satan, Moruga Satan mix. We're still holding on to these peppers for dear life. We have been fertilizing them and hoping that they come back and we get some kind of peppers off of these. And then over here I have a paprika pepper plant that I hope that comes back. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the pumpkins. Okay, so this is the pumpkin patch, and I do have a little bit of powdery like mildew on the top. I plan on doing something with that. But I have tons of pumpkins. They're hiding in there. And some of them are on the verge of turning orange. Look at that, guys. I've never been so successful at this before. And this year just shows like how successful we really were at growing some of these things. And I'm really excited about these sugar pie pumpkins. And more and more and more just keep getting added on. And here's another one as well. They're all over the place. Over here, I have my zucchinis, which are doing really well. And if you can see here, I have a hint of a butternut squash, and I believe it's gonna be ready to pick here before too long. It's just really, really, really crazy over here. These are marigolds and nasturtium. I planted these in between to keep the bugs down. And so far it is working. And I'm really excited about this. I plan on doing this every year. In order to keep the bugs down, you have to plant the marigolds in the same spot every year. And hopefully we can continue to do this and keep the bugs down. These are dragon tongue bush beans, and I harvested a bunch of them yesterday and blanched and froze them. And they are doing absolutely wonderful in here. And I actually still have some on the vine that I didn't catch. Take a look at that bean, guys. That is awesome. I pulled up most of my celery, as you can see in the celery video. And I took up most of all the roots, because when these beans and stuff, when everything is done here, which they will be here before too long, I plan on digging some of this up and putting my cabbages and my lettuces in this bed. So, and we're still working on the celery experiment. We cut a few off here, and we are leaving them in the ground to see if they grow back. And more dragon tongue bush beans over here. And let's go ahead and take a look here. This is a tomato plant called Isis Candy, and it's just kind of taking over everywhere. I planted zinnias and marigolds over here on the end, as well as borage, and this tomato plant has completely and utterly taken over this entire area. It's really awesome to see, but we have tons of bee activity, and these black honeybees are just everywhere. Look at that, guys. So cool. And I don't want to get too close because I don't want to get stung, but so far they've been extremely friendly. And let's see if we have some Isis Candy in there ready to pick. I don't think so. We picked most of them yesterday, and we gave some to my uncle. Over here, I have my pepper plants, which I'm really surprised even made it through the storm yesterday, this morning. I was just shocked that this stuff still survived, because that downpour, it was so heavy. It was ridiculous. I do have some mini bells in here, which I'm excited about eating. Take a look at that, guys. And weeks and weeks ago, I didn't even think that I was even going to get any peppers. So I'm excited to see this, and excited to see the developments of these pepper plants. These here are natapinos. Look at those. And these are not hot jalapenos. I also have some more mini bells over here. You can see them. And we have some cayenne. And then in here as well, I also have Tabasco peppers and Liza peppers. And everything is getting smuggled out by this ground cherry plants over here. So what I did is I cut them back and away from the peppers so that the peppers could breathe a little bit. But it looks as if they're still kind of taking over. So what I need to do is get in there and clip more back. And just absolute beautiful peppers. And we got sunflowers, and the bees are just loving this. This activity here is awesome, and we have tons of bee activity. And it looks like here we have another zucchini. This is called Round Denise, and we got these popping up all over the place. And another butternut squash back in there. And if you go over here and you look in here, you can get a better look at my pumpkin, which is turning yellow, which I'm really excited about. Cannot wait to make something out of this. I don't know if it would be pumpkin pie or what, but I'm really excited. Our garden this year is more mature than it's ever been. And if you watched my previous videos, you would understand that. I think we've expanded quite a bit, and we have done a lot of research to keep bugs away and keep bee life in here, to have an equal ecosystem in here. So we've done a lot of research to keep it looking like this, and everything is doing really, really well. Okay, so let's talk about the five things that I cannot live without in the garden. And let's go. Okay, number one is zinnias. I cannot live without these things, and neither can the bees. The bees love these things, and they come in and they pollinate, and they romp around in here, and they pollinate my plants, and they do such a great job. And these zinnias help bring them in every year. Number 2, basil. I definitely cannot live without this in my garden. Every year I harvest my basil and I dry it, and we have our own organic spices for the winter for pizzas and on pastas and all different kinds of stuff to season our food with. And this is really an important staple in our garden. Number 3 is peppers. I don't think I could live without peppers in my garden. We can use them for all different kinds of things, from making pepper jelly to storing them in the freezer to canning them to pickling them. You can do all different kinds of things with peppers, and they taste so good. And we have several varieties, and I can make spices out of the hot ones, and I can make all different kinds of things out of the little ones. And so therefore peppers are definitely a staple in our garden, and we definitely couldn't live without them. Okay, number 4. Number 4 is these dragon tongue bush beans. These dragon tongue bush beans are a staple in our garden, and they last clear up until the fall, and they're absolutely delicious. They're delicious on salads, they're delicious to freeze, and they are also a big staple in our garden. Couldn't live without them. I know we have multiple plants in here, and it was really hard to basically pick these as the top staples in our garden. But the 5th one I would have to say is tomatoes. We definitely couldn't live without tomatoes here. We use them for everything, and my husband makes sandwiches and I process things with them. So the tomatoes are definitely something that we cannot live without here. A few years before, we didn't have the Amish paste. We did Cherokee Purple, and we did a variety of other different types of tomatoes. But the Amish paste, or just paste tomatoes in general, is something that we probably cannot live without. And they can make a variety of different things, and we can juice, we can pasta sauce, and you can do all different kinds of things with these tomatoes. So they are definitely the number 5 on our list. Okay, so for the first time, we are going to be trying these Chinese noodle beans. So let's hope that they're good. These are how long they are. They're probably about 12 inches long.
Probably a little longer than that. They're 14 inches.
Cool.
No, everyone says they're good for stir fries, but I'm just curious what they taste like raw. Tastes like a bean. Not sweet. It's just like they would be good cut up in your Korean beef or something.
It's a hard bean.
Yeah, kind of like something you could snack on in the garden, really. It's not terrible.
It's not bad. It tastes straight up like a green bean.
But there's no sweetness. I don't get any sweetness out of it. Just the bean flavor. I'm going.
Yeah, it ain't bad. Straight up green bean. What do you think?
Not too bad. Good for stir fries.
Dustin and Courtney give that a thumbs up.
2 beans up.
2 beans.
How'd you get your beans on top of your fries?